Hi everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Reading slump has come back around to kick my fucking ass. As I'm struggling to break this reading slump once again and find books that I am interested in, I want to give you some recommendations for my favorite romance, like fantasy and sci-fi romance series on Kindle Unlimited. The reason this is that whenever I am in a reading slump or I just don't know what I want to read, I'm not really in the mood to read, I find that jumping into a world I'm already familiar with new characters, with a writing style that I already know that I like, is a really great way to start to get out of that reading slump. I love fantasy romance, I love sci-fi romance, I love me and anything but human romance recommendation. So in this video, excuse me. So in this video, I'm going to give you some recommendations for my favorite romance series on Kindle Unlimited in the fantasy and sci-fi genre. Now, for these series, you don't necessarily have to read them in order. What it is that it's set within the same world, and then you're following a different couple within that world. So with each one, you can kind of pick up wherever you want, but I do recommend that you start with the first book. But if that doesn't interest you, pick a different book in this series. You're not gonna miss much, but you might be slightly spoiled for the happy ending for the couple in the previous book if you're picking up a later book in the series. So without further ado, let's jump on in and get to the recs. So my first recommendation for you is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. Yes, I know this one has so much hype and so much love, but the reason I'm going to start with this one is because it's the one that you are most likely to have read, and these other recommendations, if you're looking for something that can give you that same feeling, that same amount of fun, that same just energy that you enjoyed in Ice Planet Barbarians, and the rest of this video, you're gonna find some great recommendations. And if you haven't started with Ice Planet Barbarians, then let me tell you about it. So Ice Planet Barbarians is by Ruby Dixon, and the first book starts off with Ice Planet Barbarians, where we are following Georgie. Now, Georgie has been abducted by aliens, bad aliens, and she is on a spaceship with a bunch of other women who have been abducted. Be warned now, there's content warning in the beginning for sexual assault. These aliens really have no problem doing a lot of things to the women on this ship. So when the women on the ship get the opportunity to escape, they take it and they end up crash landing on this ice planet. And Georgie, for some reason, becomes the leader, and she is the one that has to go onto the planet and try to find some help. She does. She runs into this giant blue alien man who recognizes his mate, and it's them adventuring on this planet and then coming back to save the rest of the women on the ship. And of course, the series then follows each woman and finding her giant blue alien mate. I know it sounds bizarre, and it may not be your thing, although I would be surprised if it wasn't your thing and then you were watching this video. But anyway, so the reason why I'm recommending this to you is just because it is a lot of fun. It is a very, very quick read. The first book is under 200 pages, and it is a world that is very easy to fall into. Plus, of course, we have the fated mate trope, so you already know these giant blue alien men are very much obsessed with their women. So love this book. Let's move on to rec number 2. I'm gonna recommend you another Ruby Dixon series. In my opinion, this one is my favorite of the two. She has multiple series. I really like the Fire Blood Dragon series. So Fire Blood Dragon series starts with Fire in His Blood. This is following Claudia, and Claudia lives in this post-apocalyptic world where a giant rip has opened up into the sky, opening the world to another dimension where these really crazed dragons come through. They're absolutely like in a mental fog, and they completely decimate all of humanity, kind of burn everything down. No one is able to stop them. I don't know why, but they aren't able to stop them. So this is following Claudia, and now she lives in this world. She lives in Fort Worth or something. I don't know. Humans have little pockets of society, and she is living in one of these little pockets where things are really rough. There's no clean water. There's no access to food. There's a ton of corruption. Women are being forced to do things they don't want to do for the sake of survival. And then one day she pisses off the mayor, and the mayor sacrifices her to the dragon because they've been doing these experiments and they find that sometimes dragons will take humans with them. She gets sacrificed to the dragon at the top of this abandoned skyscraper. All of humanity has left cities, and she's like, holy fucking shit, I'm about to get eaten by a goddamn dragon here on this roof. So she's up there, she's shaking, she's quivering, and of course, dragon comes, sniffs her out.
That sounds weird.
Okay. Sniffs her and recognizes that she is his mate. But of course, he has no idea where he's at. These dragons are in a complete fog, and he's like,
hello, mate, you need to shift to your dragon form so we can fight, I can defeat you, and we can be mated. Why are you not doing that?
not recognizing that she's human and not a dragon shifter. There's a communication barrier because he obviously doesn't speak English and she has no idea what he's talking about, and he doesn't have the ability to change right away. So it is a very interesting dynamic of this woman falls in love with a dragon. Listen, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and the other books in the series are just as strong. I wouldn't recommend for any of these series that you go in and read them back to back to back to back. You could definitely binge some books back to back, but for all of the books on this list, not just within this series, it's the similar premise with a new couple. So this is what you go back to when you're just like, I know this formula works for me, I love this world, and I want to go back into it. Fire Blood Dragon is so much fun, and if you read Ice Planet Barbarians and you haven't read the Fire Blood Dragon series, then I definitely recommend that you check it out. Moving on to the third series on this list, we have the Prime Mating series by Regine Abel, starting with I Married a Lizard Man. Yes, this cover is exactly what it is, and I fucking love it. Okay, so in the Prime Mating series, we are in this world where there are multiple planets and kind of multiple galaxies that people are able to travel between. Everyone's aware that there are aliens and that they themselves are aliens. And the Prime Mating series, it is following this kind of like Prime Mating agency where they're going and they're trying to help like planets and communities that have been deemed like very much in their developmental phases. They need additional assistance. They aren't seen as highly developed as other planets. So in the Prime Mating series, we always have someone being paired with someone else on this planet to help them overcome an issue that the planet and the community on that planet is facing. So in I Married a Lizard Man, we are following Susan. And Susan is the third daughter on this planet of farmers. Their entire planet is all about farming. They're very, very good at it. But on this planet, the first daughter is the one who inherits, the second daughter is the one who gets married, and the third daughter is essentially left and she's dealing with a lot of shit. She has no support. They essentially kind of abandon her. Susan is the third daughter. So she knows that as a third daughter, her prospects aren't great. So she decides to go to the Prime Mating agency to try to secure a better life for herself moving forward. The Prime Mating agency has this kind of like bird species that can tell who is the best connection, and they're very strategic about who they connect together. So for Susan, because she's a farmer and she has really great farming skills, she gets paired with Olix, who is a lizard man from this planet that is struggling with, I guess, like food. They don't want to farm because of their history. There's a very dark history with farming. They're not into it at all, but their planet is struggling to feed themselves, and it also has very, very fertile soil, which would be great for farming. So these two get married off, and it's their love story of them falling in love, learning more about each other, making their marriage work, but also of Susan and Olix coming together to try to get the community on the planet to go with farming as a way of supporting themselves and building up their planet. It is very, very cute, and I think it has a good balance of romance, great writing, fun plots, sexy scenes, and an actual full political world here, and more explanation about why farming isn't something that they do and why they would want to farm and how the farming is going to help them. This book sounds like it's about farming. I promise you farming is there, but the book is not about farming. It is just a damn good time, and all of the books in the Prime Mating series, that's a lie. I'll say all of the books in the Prime Mating series are great. I haven't read all of the books in the Prime Mating series. I definitely have DNF'd some books in the Prime Mating series, but overall, I really enjoy this series, and it's so fun, and the formula works almost every time. Then I have the Four Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. Now, I heard of this series from Riley, and I, of course, picked it up because the Four Horsemen series follows the four horsemen. We have pestilence, war, famine, and death. And these four horsemen have come to Earth to bring about the end of men. All of humanity. They're there to wipe them out because some higher being, some deity was like, you all fucking suck. Humans extinct. So the four horsemen come, and they come in waves. The first book in this series is Pestilence. So Pestilence comes to Earth, and he is riding his horse through towns, and every town that he hits, everyone gets diseased and dies. Susan is living in a town, and she knows that the horseman is coming to her town, and she's not here for it. She wants to live. So she decides that when Pestilence rides into her town, she is going to kill him. So as he's riding along, she actually succeeds in killing him, and she kills him in a very, very brutal and torturous way. Literally watches this man as he dies. But my girl doesn't think this is not a fucking human. So of course Pestilence comes back to life because he's not fucking human. He's literally Pestilence, the embodiment of pestilence. Anyway, he comes back to life. He just remembers that he has literally just been tortured to death by this woman, and he's pissed. So he takes this woman, and it's their journey where he is forcing her to go to the towns with him and watch as he kills everybody. And she has no way to stop him, and it definitely is dark. There's definitely some scenes where they're torturing each other. He's torturing her. It wasn't my favorite in the series, okay? I still liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I'm making it sound darker than it is, but just I want you to know that's in the first book. But for me, the rest of the books really, really shine. I will tell you though that there are definitely some elements of the second book, War, that made me uncomfortable, and I just think some very unnecessary choices were made. But anyway, I really do love this series. It is such a fun world to go into. If you really like the idea of reading a book about a woman who is getting romantically involved with someone who has immense power and the ability to kill all of humanity, maybe pick this book up. Okay, this is a very specific recommendation for the girlies who get it. And my final series recommendation for you in this video is the Romancing His Stone series by Gillian Graves. If you're not new here, then you know that I fucking love this world. So Romancing His Stone starts with Titan, and Titan is a story about Juliana. Juliana is a sugar baby. She is looking for a sugar daddy to pay her bills, to spoil her, and to give her that sense of protection and financial stability that has been taken from her. So she is very open about wanting a sugar daddy, and she's going out on these dates with men who could potentially be her sugar daddy, but she's not going to go with anyone. She wants the person who can really fill that hole for her. So she goes on this date with this man who has some information that Titan, our love interest, actually needs. And Titan is like, hey, Juliana, you know this man, you know how to navigate this world. There's gonna be this auction, and at this auction is going to be this stone that I need. So these two come together because Juliana sees the opportunity for some money, and Titan feels this connection to her. But what I haven't mentioned yet is Titan is a gargoyle. Yes, that's right. Titan is a gargoyle. He is a man made out of stone who can shapeshift. So what the story does really well is has that really great balance of a lot of spice. If you're looking for the spice, you're gonna pick up this book. It definitely has daddy kink as well. If that's your thing, you can enjoy that too. But there's also really like a fantasy plot going on. Like you're actually learning more about the magic in this world, why the stone is so important to the gargoyles, the hierarchy of the magical beings within this world, Juliana being introduced to this all, and of course, spoil kink, because Titan likes to buy Juliana stuff. He is her sugar daddy in the end. So I really love this book. I think it's great. The second book in the series hasn't come out yet. I don't think we have the official summary, but I'm assuming we're following one of Titan's brothers and the assistant. I think that's what's coming up. But there's another book in this world, not necessarily within this series, and that is Blood Moon by Julian Graves, which is the story of a vampire and a witch and their rival business competitions and all of the sexy times that they have together. It is a short novella. This is just a fun world to jump back into whenever you're just looking for a quick escape, or you're in a reading slump and you want to come back to something that you already know that you love, but is still a new book. And that's it. Those are the 5 series that I read and loved on Kindle Unlimited within the science fiction and fantasy romance genre. I hope that you were able to find some recommendations that work for you. If you have read any of these series or you plan to read any of these series, please let me know. I would also love to do a part 2 of this, so if you're interested in that, make sure to give this video a like or leave a comment so I can know that this is something that you would like to see a part 2 of. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you in the next episode. No, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.